In 2010, when Brazilian elected Dilma Rousseff as president, their country seemed at last to be living up to its huge potential. The economy expanded by 7.5% that year, setting the seal on 8 years of faster growth and a steep fall in poverty. But for 4 years later, the promise has disappeared. Under Ms. Rousseff, the economy has stalled and social progress has slowed. Sanctions hit Russia aside, Brazil is by far the weakest performer of big emerging economies. In June 2013, over 1 million Brazilians took to the streets to protest against poor public services and political corruption. Ever since the protest, the polls have shown that 2/3 of respondents want the next president to be different. So one might have expected them to turf out for Ms. Rousseff in the first round of the country's presidential election on October 5th. In that event, she secured over 41% of the vote and remains the narrow favorite to win the runoff ballot on October 26th. That is mainly because most Brazilians have not yet felt the economic chill in their daily lives, though they soon will. And it is partly because her opponent, Aécio Neves of the center-right party of Brazilian Social Democracy, who won 33.6%, has struggled to persuade poorer Brazilians the reforms he embraces, which the country urgently needs, will benefit rather than harm them. If Brazil is to avoid another 4 years of drift, it is vital that he succeeds in doing so. In this runoff, Ms. Rousseff's main asset is popular gratitude for full employment, higher wages, and a clutch of effective social programs, not just the Bolsa Family cash transfers, but low-cost housing, student grants, and rural electricity and water programs in the poor Northeast. These are real achievements, but alongside them are bigger but less palatable failures, both on the economic and in politics. The troubled world economy and the end of the great commodity boom have hurt Brazil, but it has fared worse than its Latin American neighbors. Ms. Rousseff's constant meddling in macroeconomic policies and attempts to micromanage the private sector have seen investments fall. She has made few efforts to tackle Brazil's structural problems: its poor infrastructure, high cost, punitive tax system, mountains of red tape, and a rigid labor code copied from Mussolini. Instead, she has revived Brazil's corporate state, dishing out favors to insiders such as tax breaks and subsidized loans from a bloated state bank. She has damaged both Petrobras, the state oil company, and ethanol industry by holding down the price of petrol to mitigate the inflationary impact of her loose fiscal policy. A bribery scandal in Petros underlines that it is the PT and not its opponents, Ms. Rousseff claims, who cannot be trusted with what was once a national jewel. This corporate state of voracious insiders is symbolized by Ms. Rousseff's absurdly large coalition and her 39-member cabinet. It costs Brazilians some 36% of GDP in taxes, far higher than in other countries at a similar stage of development. No wonder the government has been unable to find the extra money for health care and transport that the protesters demand. And what is worse, Ms. Rousseff, who lacks Lula's political touch, shows no sign of having learned from her errors. Ms. Rousseff draws strength from Mr. Neves' flaws as a candidate. The left's baseless insinuation that he would axe Bolsa Family has stuck because he is a member of Brazil's political establishment. His grandfather died on the eve of becoming the president in 1985, and he carries a whiff of the old politics. As a governor, he was found to have spent public money on a small-town airstrip which just happens to be close to his farm. For the past 12 years, Lula, who still has the ear of the poor, has caricatured the PSDB as a party of heartless fat cats. Yet, Mr. Neves' policies would benefit poor Brazilians as well as prosperous ones. He promised to put the country back on the path of economic growth. His record and that of his party make his claim credible. Mr. Neves deserves to win. He has fought a dogged campaign and proved that he can make economic policies work. The biggest threat to social programs is the PT's mismanagement of the economy. With luck, the endorsement of Ms. Silva, a former PT member born in poverty, should bolster his case. Brazil needs growth and better government. Mr. Neves is likelier to deliver than Ms. Rousseff is. Thank you. Reporting live from Brazil, John Castleberry.